If it had had no importance, he scarcely knew why his actual impression of her should so seem to have so much. The answer to which, however, was that, in such a life as they all appeared to be leading for the moment, one could but take things as they came. He was satisfied, without in the least being able to say why, that this young lady might roughly have ranked in the house as a poor relation. Satisfied also that she was not there on a brief visit, but was more or less a part of the establishment, almost a working, a remunerated part. Didn't she enjoy at periods a protection that she paid for by helping, among other services, to show the place and explain it, deal with the tiresome people, answer questions about the dates of the building, the styles of the furniture, the authorship of the pictures, the favourite haunts of the ghost? It wasn't that she looked as if you could have given her shillings. It was impossible to look less so. Yet, when she finally drifted toward him, distinctly handsome, though ever so much older than when he had seen her before, it might have been as an effect of her guessing that he had, within the couple of hours, devoted more imagination to her than to all the others put together, and had thereby penetrated to a kind of truth that the others were too stupid for. She was there on harder terms than anyone. She was there as a consequence of things suffered, one way and another, in the interval of years, and she remembered him very much as she was remembered, only a good deal better. By the time they at last thus came to speech, they were alone in one of the rooms, remarkable for a fine portrait over the chimney-place, out of which their friends had passed, and the charm of it was that even before they had spoken, they had practically arranged with each other to stay behind for talk. The charm, happily, was in other things too, partly in there being scarce a spot at Weather End without something to stay behind for. It was in the way the autumn day looked into the high windows as it waned, the way the red light, breaking at the close from under a low, sombre sky, reached out in a long shaft and played over old wainscots, old tapestry, old gold, old colour. It was, most of all, perhaps in the way she came to him, as if, since she had been turned on to deal with the simpler sort, he might, should he choose to keep the whole thing down, just take her mild attention for a part of her general business. As soon as he heard her voice, however, the gap was filled up, and the missing link supplied. The slight irony he divined in her attitude lost its advantage. He almost jumped at it to get there before her. "I met you years and years ago in Rome. I remember all about it." She confessed to disappointment. She had been so sure he didn't, and to prove how well he did, he began to pour forth the particular recollections that popped up as he called for them. Her face and her voice, all at his service now, worked the miracle, the impression operating like the torch of a lamplighter who touches into flame, one by one, a long row of gas jets. Marcher flattered himself the illumination was brilliant, yet he was really still more pleased on her showing him, with amusement, that, in his haste to make everything right, he had got most things rather wrong. It hadn't been at Rome, it had been at Naples, and it hadn't been 8 years before, it had been more nearly 10. She hadn't been either with her uncle and aunt, but with her mother and brother. In addition to which, it was not with the Pembles he had been, but with the Boyers, coming down in their company from Rome, a point on which she insisted, a little to his confusion, and as to which she had her evidence in hand. The Boyers she had known, but didn't know the Pembles, though she had heard of them, and it was the people he was with who had made them acquainted. The incident of the thunderstorm that had raged round them with such violence as to drive them for refuge into an excavation, this incident had not occurred at the palace of the Caesars, but at Pompeii.